Stafford. So Colin Cowherd, you guys probably know who he is, I'm sure, had a theory on his show last week. And we've been talking on this podcast about the possibility of a dry market for quarterbacks in the NFL this year. Because obviously when I've been saying that Sam Darnold is probably going to be the biggest name in the open market because you have guys like Aaron Rodgers is old, Russell Wilson's getting older, and whatnot. So I want to play this clip. What Colin Cowherd says on his radio show, The Herd, that Matthew Stafford could possibly be on the market, and it's a couple of theories he brought up that I want to share here. So let me play this clip for you guys real quick. I think I got it now. Hold on. I think I got it now. Let's play it right here.
So yeah. I am going to propose something. I made a couple of calls yesterday, a couple of texts this morning. Yesterday, I was talking to a longtime NFL exec, and he said this is not crazy. The Rams like Matt Stafford, but they're tiring of the constant quarterback talk. His wife saying things publicly. They like him, but they don't want to restructure his deal and give him a big contract. Meanwhile, the Giants do not like the quarterback class, and Brian Daboll, the head coach, and Joe Shane, the GM, have got to win or they'll be fired by Thanksgiving. What the Rams want, I'm told, they want the Giants' first-round pick at number 3. They want to take that pick, move down, and get more picks. Why? So they have extra picks for next year when they have to move up to get a quarterback. So what the Rams will be in the market for if Matt Stafford moves is a 1 to 2 year rental at quarterback. Aaron Rodgers. Hear me out. Aaron needs a rehab. Got a house in Malibu. West Coast guy. Remember, Matt LaFleur's brother is the OC with Sean McVay. Well, he's been in that system before. I believe Aaron is craving infrastructure, stability, a head coach he respects, organizational excellence. So I am going to propose something. I made a couple of calls yesterday.
All right. Okay. All right. So that was Colin Cowherd last week on The Herd. Now, this Stafford thing really there's 3 angles to this now. And, there's the angle number 1 of Matthew Stafford's future. There's the angle of, he mentioned the Giants, of course, who have the number 3 pick in the draft currently right now. There's also the angle of, which you brought in Aaron Rodgers, if the Rams want to get a rental and rebuild. Now, let's start with the Stafford part first. I'm kind of shocked. First off, so my prediction for the year started was that Stafford would likely retire after the season. Before the year started, I had said that retirement's on the table. He had mentioned there been some rumblings that he was, considered retiring at one point. He came back this year, had a really good year. Obviously, the Rams made it to the second round of the playoffs. It's stunning the Rams would actually want to pivot off of him if this is true, considering that going to next year, I think the Rams are one of the most interesting teams next season. Like we discussed we had Kyle on the podcast, Student Game Report, the last one we did then the year, and we would talk about teams in the NFC. Why the Eagles are likely to get into the Super Bowl next year is because the NFC is so wide open outside of Philadelphia. Like the second team, like who's challenging the Eagles, and Detroit's might be a little worse next year. That's going to be bad, but it'll be a little worse next year because they lost both the coordinators. The Packers are in flux a little bit. They're still good, but in flux a little bit. Minnesota won't be as good as they were last year. Let's put that to bed real quick. San Francisco is probably in a rebuild. They got to pay Brock Purdy very soon, most likely this year. So there's an opening. The Rams, what they showed this year when all their guys were healthy toward the end of the year, after a 1-4 start, win a division, win a playoff game, were the only team of the 4 in the playoffs to even give the Eagles remotely a challenge. And if that game was not played in the conditions it was, maybe to win that game. So why I'm really curious why the Rams would even consider moving on to Stafford. Look, I don't believe report number one. Okay, if anything, Stafford retires before he gets moved from the Rams. Rams move him. Okay, now the Giants angle. I love Matthew Stafford. I said on this show, I did a TikTok video back in December, or during the playoffs. I can't remember what it was. That when we were discussing the top quarterbacks in the league, I had said that you had your lock four: the Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and Lamar Jackson. Nearly everyone agrees that those are your four best quarterbacks in the league. And I was saying that the number 5 spot is wide open. It can go to anyone. You can consider Jalen Hurts. You can consider Justin Herbert, although I disagree with that. I had said that Matthew Stafford, by the way he was playing toward the end of the year into the playoffs, was a top 5 quarterback in the league, or certainly close to a top 5 quarterback in the league. Okay, and I have not pivoted off of that. Now I think Jane Daniels, what he did this year in Washington, certainly warrants conversation. Okay, so on one hand, the Rams do this and get rid of him. You're saying to yourself, we're building for the future. But I think your team right now, based on what we saw, might be good enough to compete to go to the Super Bowl next year with Stafford a quarterback. Yeah, you don't want to extend him because obviously there's a lot of money there, and he may retire, and that part I get. See, this is where now they're in the point now. They're at the point now where Tom Brady was, and at the end of his Patriots career. But the difference was he was winning Super Bowls year after year after year, and certainly getting there year after year after year after year. But the Giants can't afford to shortcut anymore. I know the Brian Daboll, Joe Shane gets a pass this year because of the decisions that ownership made, that John Mara made, and he was the one that made a decision to pay Daniel Jones, which then, of course, screwed up the very next year. Saquon Barkley's money to stay in New York, obviously. Okay, I know Joe Shane gets a lot of bad rap for that, but that was a John Mara issue. That was a John Mara issue. John Mara created that issue. So they got Daboll and Shane now get a 1-year reprieve as a result. Okay. I love Stafford as a New York Giants fan. I do. But it is not wise to trade that pick, for a guy that may retire this year, may retire next year, versus using that pick for a guy that you either getting a quarterback in either mostly Shedeur Sanders, or if he doesn't fall through the cracks, or a Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. Okay. That pick is too valuable. The Giants' issues the Giants' issues right now, there's so many at this point that it's not worth giving up that pick. You need to rebuild for the future moving forward. Even with the idea that if you shortcut this for Stafford to save their jobs, I do think if you get the quarterback, and as long as you show progress, they'll have their jobs. If they get Shedeur Sanders in the third pick, for example, and the Giants go 7-10 next year, I think their jobs are safe because that's progress, okay? But they got to stay the course. The Giants have got to stay the course. So Matthew Stafford should be off the board. In the case of Aaron Rodgers, unless Aaron Rodgers only makes sense if indeed Stafford does get traded or retires, okay? Which I don't see happening necessarily this year in the immediate. Furthermore, Aaron Rodgers at this point now, his stock is dead. I said all year long, Aaron Rodgers had 2 choices most likely. The Jets return. He returned to the Jets, which apparently, according to reports, he begged for the job back, and they told him, "Nah, we good, fam." He asked for his job. He said, "Nah, we good, fam. Get the fuck out of here, bro." He's that bad. He's that toxic now. And I love Aaron Rodgers. I think he's close to retiring. The only team I think that would make sense for Aaron Rodgers, and this is also if this team has the gumption to do it, first off, is the Steelers. And that will depend on the culture and if Mike Tomlin could take. Now, I think Mike Tomlin could do it because Mike Tomlin has done it before with other divas. So why not now? Why not now? He's done with Antonio Brown. And granted, it has not worked to championships, but he's kept that somewhat together. But Aaron Rodgers, if he wants to play football, he knows now he has to buck up or shut up. Okay, there aren't many options for Aaron Rodgers, even in a dry market. Okay, so having said that, I think it's probably most likely, in my opinion, that Aaron Rodgers retires than finds a team next year. I think Aaron Rodgers killed his load this year, and not just because of the play, but also the play, and then also all the off-field stuff or locker room stuff. Him not being a good leader, and again, this is stuff that's been coming out now for a little while now. So, Stafford stay put in LA. I think he will stay put in LA. Giants cannot shortcut this, and that's just that. All right. What else on the docket?